Hey everybody, what's up? God bless you all. So I want to give some parental advice. Now keep in mind, my kids are 20 and 18 years old. So I can only tell you from my experience. Some of this stuff you might take to heart and be like, hey, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna tell you what worked for me and stuff I shouldn't have done, okay? I'm gonna do this for you. It might be a little long video. I'm gonna try to make it fast though. I'm trying to enjoy my cigar while I'm doing this. First and foremost, make sure the person you have a child with is the person you want to be with. All right, so we begin. During pregnancy, you have that baby in your womb. You have to try to remain at peace, mentally, psychologically. If you're angry all the time or you're at work that's stressful, all that energy goes to that child. You don't want to be releasing those negative chemicals into your body that's produced and goes into your child, okay? You want to produce happy, like serotonin, stuff like that. You want to, of course, avoid beer, of course, alcohol, cigarettes, right? But on top of that, there are other things you want to avoid. You want to avoid gluten if you can. You want to avoid fried food if you can. You want to try to eat as healthy as you can, even if it's just for the 9 months. Try to eat more salad, more fruit, of course more salad than fruit, a variety of salad and fruit, nuts and things like that. But it's more what you should avoid. Avoid food with colors and dyes. So if you eat cereal like Fruit Loops, avoid that garbage. That's all colors and dyes. But the most important thing is the stress. You don't want to have anxiety, stress. You don't want to be in an environment where you're always angry. Maybe you're dealing with people and your job is just a stressful job. You want to try to avoid that at all costs. If you can, learn how to find time to relax, whether it's reading a book, and when you read out loud, so you have the voice, the vibration of that for that child. Listen to good music, don't listen to bad music. Try to avoid anything that's going to cause a negative reaction. Are you going to be able to do that at all times? Not these days. But anything, find out what stirs you up, what gets you angry. If it's politics, avoid that, you know? At least for the 9 months, then go back to your angry self. Now let's say now you have given birth. My advice is breastfeed as long as you can. That's my advice. While you're breastfeeding, make sure you're taking your nutrients, even while you're pregnant, your minerals. Don't just take one multivitamin with iron. That's what the doctors give you. No, there are so much other things you want to take. Minerals, iron, enzymes, calcium, magnesium. You want to take all these nutrients into your body while you're pregnant and while you're breastfeeding. Breastfeed as long as you can, okay? Depending on your situation, I would also say if you can put more time into being at home with that child, bonding, okay? Don't go back to work in 3 months, if you can. However, I used to say, try to stay with that child until the child begins going to school at the age of 5. But these days, I know there's times when both parents have to work, or maybe you're the breadwinner, then see if maybe the dad can be at home. Anything to avoid daycare. That's all it is. Anything to avoid daycare. So if the dad could be at home with the kid, fine. If the mom, or you come out 3 days a week, 4 days a week, anything to avoid daycare so you can spend all the time you can with your child. While you're spending time with your child, read to your child. Read to your child. I did that when my kids were young. I'll tell you what not to do, which I wish I would have not done. I didn't speak to them too often. As far as when I'm talking to them, speak to them like they better understand. So for example, too many times you do the whole baby stuff. Look, come here, baby, come here. You do the whole. Avoid that. I think it's okay, but when that's the norm, then you're not teaching the kid how to properly speak. I didn't know that, So my kid, when it came to speaking, he started speaking a little later in life. Not much later, just a little later. Whereas I have a neighbor who she speaks to her kids all the time, just like they're normal. I mean, you could be 8 months old, and she'll say, "Hey, Johnny, I need you to go over there and crawl over there, give me that bottle and bring it back." And the kid will do it, and I'm like, what the? So I would say, speak to that child. Is the child always going to do that? No. But I noticed the difference between her children at the age of 2 and how much they're able to follow instruction. They know what they're saying because you trained them that way. You showed them that way. I made that mistake. I wish I would have spent more time in speaking to them more often. Looking down, talking to them, being, having a conversation. But I didn't do that when they were, months old or even a year, 2 or 3 years old. I still treated them like they weren't as smart. I treated them like kind of dumb. Not that they were dumb, but I treated them like, well, I'm not gonna talk to you like that because you're not gonna understand. I didn't know better. So if you get a chance, don't do that to your child. Learn from my mistake. Now, mind you, growing up, I got rid of my TV when my kid was 2. I knew the TV was a problem. Some people can't live without it. Trust me, my kid, one of them is out the house, the other one leaves within a month, and I still don't have a TV. And I don't plan to get one. So your life will just continue. So if you can, at least for the first couple of years, don't think putting on Teletubbies and Barney, all that, they're gonna learn. They're not. You spend that time with them. However, if you do have a TV, limit it to what they watch, know what they watch, and limit it. Take your kid outside more often, into the park to play, to get hurt. Don't be afraid of letting your kid get hurt. Go out there into the park. Let them get sunlight. Let them, and of course, if your kid is light-skinned, you gotta be careful with how much sun. But you still gotta get your kid out there to breathe fresh air. Sometimes when kids are in their house all day, you have a carpet, that's dust they're breathing all day. Get them out there to get some of that fresh, clean air, So that's at the age of, let's say, 5, 8, 9. Now you got the kids and put them in something. Music, sports, some kind of club, organization, cooking, jewelry making. Put them into something where they're coordinating their hands, where they're coordinating their sports, maybe they're coordinating something else, gymnastics. Put them in something. Make the sacrifice as a parent. That's one thing I can say I did. I was outside all the time with my kids because I was raised that way. And this is what happens when you get rid of your TV. You're forced to spend that time with your kid. See, a lot of times we get the TV and we'll put the kid in front of the TV, and that allows us to not have to spend that time with them. Okay? Or you're spending time watching TV with your kid, that's not quality time. So get the TV, and if you can limit it to 1 hour a day, get some kind of timer that it turns off after an hour, and that forces you to spend that time with your child. But go outside, play, whatever. I was into baseball, so I had that benefit that I was into baseball. My kids were playing baseball and they enjoyed it. The only thing during baseball, if you put your kid in a sport that you're into, one thing I did, another big mistake was I didn't plan, I didn't think, I wasn't that parent where my kid's gonna be the best and he's gonna be a professional baseball player. I knew that wasn't gonna happen. However, I was pretty strict when it came to baseball. I think I was overburdened on them. There were times when I remember, and afterward in that night, I'd be like, man, what did I do there? I'll lose my patience, I'll throw the ball at them, they'll miss it, like, come on, right there, just put your glove out. I'll throw it again, come on. All that for nothing, Now that they're older, I look back, I remember when I used to yell at you? Yeah, I'm so sorry. I apologize to them, because I realized that was a mistake. I wish I would have just sat in the bleachers and just said, come on, son, do your best. Do your best. And there were days when it was my kid's fault they lost the game, and there were other days it was my kid's fault they won the game. So, learn to just chill. You know why? Don't take it that serious. That's the key. Don't take it that serious. Whether it's sports, whether it's school, whatever they do, don't take it that serious. Because at the end, none of it really matters. You're not going to be told that. It's no different than marriage. Don't sweat the small stuff. So you got your kid in any sport, anything, music, whatever, and if you were a great violinist and you want your kid and you're making them practice hours until it becomes a burden, don't do that. So avoid that at all costs. You hear my wind chimes? I got the wind chimes because I like the sound. I got little birds I feed, grow my own vegetables and stuff out here. But don't do that to your child. Learn to just accept. If they suck at whatever you were good at, so what? But the reason why I spent so much time with my kids outside was because we were always practicing baseball. They liked practicing, but there was times when I just got upset and frustrated with them. So avoid that. Don't avoid playing and doing things with them, but also just know this: if you don't have money, it doesn't cost anything to spend time with your kid. Take them to a park, take them fishing, take them hiking. Let them learn about nature. Let them learn the beauty of nature. If you're a person of strong faith, teach them about faith. But when it comes to faith, don't be that person. I used to go to church with a lady, and the way she treated her daughter, I told my wife, watch, when that girl becomes older, she's going to rebel. And yes, she rebelled hardcore. Now the kids are 18, 19 now. Why? Because the mom was always, the devil, you shouldn't do that. That's of the devil. Everything was of the devil. So she was overbearing. The way I was overbearing with baseball, she was overbearing with faith. Okay? Jesus Christ, Jesus, it's okay. We know. But there's no need to overburden these children. All right? I did it with baseball. I didn't do it with faith. I did. Whenever we practice with my kids, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, I'll always take time to talk to them about life, about Christ, and how it applies to the daily life. I didn't try to make them memorize all these scriptures and stuff like that. I try to show them how certain things apply to life. So when it comes to faith, they get older, they start understanding. So you're now the 8, 9, 10-year-old, So then your kids get old, they go to school. I think one thing I would tell you to do, which I did, and you might find this to be wrong, but my kids learn how to fight. I would say if you have kids, put them in some kind of self-defense. One thing I did tell my kids, and I said, if anyone steps to you, you strike first. Simple as that. If anyone strikes you and you're able to get up and strike them and keep striking and keep striking and keep striking. It wasn't go talk to the principal, go talk to the teacher. I wasn't playing with that. Luckily, I think one of my kids got into 2 fights in school. No big deal. But he wasn't a bully or nothing like that. But he was never bullied either. So put your kid in some kind of self-defense. Why? So in case they need it, they use it, okay? Not for them to go bullying. Because if you're putting your kid in self-defense, they're not going to use it for bullying because you learn that as a discipline, as part of self-defense. Most bullies don't know how to fight, so they use their scare tactics to overpower whoever they're bullying. So try to do that. Now, as your kids are getting older, also their diet. You got to try to keep their diet, sugar especially, limited, extremely limited. My kids will tell you, Halloween came, if they did the trick-or-treating thing, they'll come home with a bag of candy, and they'll pick a few, and they knew I dumped the rest. Sometimes like, can we give it to so-and-so, the neighbor? Nope. I don't hate those kids that much. I'm not giving them all that sugar. Nope. And it goes to the trash. And they'll watch me do it. Every year they got used to it. It was never like, I hate Dad for that. And now they limit their intake of sugar. Why? Because I didn't just say don't eat it. I showed them the damage sugar does. So if you have your kid, especially if your kid's young, 2 or 3, and you're letting them eat sugar, drink soda with hot dogs, you're asking for problems, okay? So learn to say no. It's okay to say no. Because if you're saying yes to everything, remember, if you spoil your child, you will raise your grandchildren. If you raise your children, you will be able to spoil your grandchildren, all right? So we don't want to raise grandchildren, right? We want to spoil them. So, as they get older, when they get to those teenage years, ask those questions nobody wants to ask. Hey, have you had sex? I ask that question. I'll teach them about sex. I don't need school teaching them about that. I got 2 boys. They get to a certain age. I'm like, son, are you gay? Don't be afraid to ask that. I said, you sure? And I'll ask you once in a while, son, are you gay by any chance? I just want to make sure that if you are, I need you to know that you're safe at home, right? You're safe. I don't want them to think that I'm going to be mad at them, all right? And I always tell them, I said, I won't be mad at you. What I will be mad at is if you're 40 years old and then I find out you're gay. It's like, dude, you should have told me that when you were 13. I'm still not mad, but, have those tough conversations, 13, 14, okay? If you have more than one child, another thing I did was and anybody out there who's listening who has more than one child, and your kids are older, 8, 9, 10, you know it's always the same. One child demands more attention of you, and you kind of sidestep the other child. It's not favoritism, it's just the way it works. One of them is attached to you, usually the second child. The first child is usually attached to the mother, okay? Now, this is if both parents are at home. There are a lot of single parents, so this may not pertain to you. But if you're a parent of two, a single parent, yes, this will pertain to you. One thing I did was 1 month, I'll say, hey, where you want to go eat, son? Pick a place we've never been to. And I did this later when they were 8 or 9. I couldn't afford it when they were young kids. I just couldn't afford it. So I'll take them out to eat someplace. And at first it was like, yo, you eat. I'll just pick at whatever they're eating because I couldn't. I didn't have the money. So I couldn't spend that, $25 eating out. And then the next month I'll pick the other one. I'll take him out. Why? So I can spend that one-on-one time. So I can learn and pick the brain and just always tell them the same thing. And I've always told them the same thing. Hey, as long as you do your best, I'm happy. That's it. So do that. Take one out on a date, and then the other one, hey, we're going on a date. This is your date. This is my date. Excuse me. And one thing we did when my kid when they were about 8 or 9, that you can leave them home for like 30 minutes. For our marriage sake, we always like, hey, son, me and mommy are going to go on a mini date. And we head around the corner. There was a McDonald's. And we'll split a Big Mac and come home. I don't drink soda, so no. We'll split a Big Mac and come home 30 minutes later. How was your mini date? Oh, it was great. That's all. So they can see that love and they can see that relationship. So that's maybe, if let me know if you would like marriage advice. I'll give you some. I've only been married 21 years. So I can give you that advice, because one thing I do, if I see people who are married 40, I always say, so what's the secret? Why? Because there's always a secret. What's their secret? I want to pick and learn and be like, okay, I'm going to try that. So if you've been married less than me, you should learn from me or learn from others who've been married longer. Ask that question. What's the secret? So here we go forward. So learn to spend time with your children. I'm going to try to wrap it up because it's going on 17 minutes. So now they're older. My kids are 18. One of them is out of the military. In the military. He's going to school. He's struggling. I think he failed like 2 weeks ago. And I'm talking to him on the phone. I said, son, are you doing your best? Yeah, I am. I said, that's all I care of, son. Just do your best. I said, trust me, none of this matters. And they know it. So it's not that they're going to be like, oh, I don't care about this. I tell them, you try your best. If you can't make it, it's okay. There's other opportunities out there. Okay? So always say the same thing. Just try your best. That's all I care, that you give it your best shot. There was times I give them homework at home because during the summer break, they didn't get like 2 months without doing anything, okay? So I give them writing assignments or math assignments, history assignments. I give them books on history to read, especially about American history. And then they'll write a 2-3 page paper. I'll read it, and I'm like, this is the best you can do right here? Yeah, it is. And if they say, oh, no, I was just in a rush, I said, nope, do it again. I only want the best. That's it. That was my thing, okay? And the reason why school was serious for me, not serious as far as I really think they were going to learn too much with a public school, but it was more of I want you to be better than me. That's what all parents want, right? I didn't learn how to properly write a sentence until I finished high school. I went to a really poor school. I was never showed up high school and I still passed. How is that? I don't know. So now my kid, I say he's out the house when the relationship changes. I'll go visit about every 2 weeks. And, I still give him a hug. He still gives me a kiss. That's beautiful, right? He comes home and gives me a kiss. Most dads and kids don't kiss like that anymore. Gives me a kiss, Dad, what's up? How you doing? And I tell him, how's life? I was a girlfriend? No? Okay, cool. Yes? All right, cool. You're trying hard? You tell me any problems? Are you stressed? Just know this. If you're stressed, learn how to, and I'll teach him, pray to God, meditate. I always say, hey, sit down, visualize yourself passing or visualize yourself at peace. Learn how to do deep breathing. That's my thing. I believe all that stuff does work. So that's where I'm at now. My other ones are still in the house, and with him, we still do things together. We just got back from the beach, and it's cool because they're so used to we did a lot of vacations. Once I was married about 10, 12 years, I was able to afford vacations, had more money at work, and we always took them on vacation. So they don't mind spending time with us. So like yesterday, we were like, hey, you want to go to the beach with me and your mom? Oh, yeah. So it's not like, I ain't going with them. They still like spending time with us. We'll go to the beach. They still out there. Me and him still get in the water together. And since we were kids, we always bring like a little rubber raft. And the waves where we go are big. and he'll push me, and the boat flips, and then vice versa. We take turns. We've been doing that since we were like 7 or 8, and we still do it. Unfortunately, today I couldn't find the boat, but we went over there to the beach a few months ago and we did it. So just keep your own little traditions. That's all I got to say. I don't want to keep talking. I talk fast because I'm trying to get a lot out. I ain't trying to make a long video. Nobody watches those. But that's my advice to you. If you're a young parent, remember, you got to build that foundation. That foundation is in the womb. Be at peace. Learn to listen to nature. Learn to just relax. Breathe in deep. Get some oxygen into that child. Your child is developing. You're trying not to put, some people say, don't smoke, don't drink alcohol. That's good. Don't do that. But also avoid certain foods, especially foods that cause inflammation. Any of the gluten, if you can avoid gluten in the meantime while you're pregnant, go ahead. I believe different foods that parents eat these days, canned foods, food with preservatives, food with chemicals and dyes that we eat nonchalantly because we don't know, is the main cause of why we have autism now, ADD, ADHD. I think that's the driving factor. Because it's bad enough everything else, inside the house, the air is, unless you have an air filter, you have dust everywhere. You're breathing that in through your body. So I ranted on long enough. That's my little advice for you who are going to be parents soon, or you're already parents. Now you might say, you know what, I'm going to try to take that. I'm going to try to do the date thing. Because if you have 2 kids, there was always one who's closer to you. You think it feels like, I don't love that one as much. It's not the same. It's not that. It's just this one demands so much more attention when it was us 3. So I guarantee the older child felt like, well, he's always with him, or why is he always carrying him, or whatever. And it was because the little one demanded more attention. So acknowledge that, recognize that. And once you catch it, then you're like, okay, I need to change this. I need to make sure I spend time with this one alone as well. And that's it. Now they're older. They're about to leave the house. Now I'm about to transition into the empty nester here in the next couple of months. And now I have to, change the way my marriage is. We got used to the kids. I'm glad we're not married because of the kids. Some people married for the kids and then after, divorce. But that's why we kept mini dates, and me and her were able to go out for days on end once they were 17 and 18. But anyway, that's my advice. I hope that you take it for what it's worth. Teach your kids about faith. Don't be overbearing with anything, all right? So don't be that person who stresses if they drop a cup and it breaks. You know what you say? What I used to say. The cup breaks, like, I always say, that's not the last one you're going to break. And that's it, because it's just a cup. There's no need to, Johnny, that's my favorite cup. Don't do all that, because that cup is not going to get fixed. So what? Your favorite cup. Boo-hoo, big deal, your favorite cup. So what? So learn those little things. Don't let those things be the things that get you frustrated. You're always doing, no, it's all right. We got to let kids explore. We got to let kids learn. We got to let kids get hurt and fall and come back and do wrong things, and you teach them a life lesson over that. Now, I made a video about spanking. Some parents don't spank, and if you're fine, don't spank if that's not the way you want to do it. It's one of my older videos. I made it 8, 9, 10 years ago. The way I did it, the way I spanked my children. And the comments on there are crazy. Child abuse, your child's gonna hate you for. Nope, it didn't turn out that way. I'm sorry. So that's what worked for me. It might not work for you. You might not want to do that, and that's fine. Just find your way. In where you still have to discipline the children, but find your way where it's not overbearing, where the kid is not depressed over it. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here. God bless you all, and don't ever forget that what Jesus Christ did is enough. Peace.